Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? So, we are gonna discuss a little bit about our small account challenge. Please remember, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, press the subscribe button below for all daily heat we drop here. So ultimately, I did grow a small account to $2,500 to $6,000 in 4 trading days. So last week on July 4th, the stock market was closed and observance was for 4th of July. So ultimately, we did grow our small account from $2,500 to $6,000 in 4 trading days, right? We traded tickers such as, Tesla. We traded tickers such as AMD. We traded tickers such as the QQQs, right? And ultimately, a lot of these positions that are small account building does give us, the opportunity to be able to grow our small accounts with sizing, right? But we don't want to size in all the incorrect moments or, when the market looks like it's about to take a shit or choppy, right? Essentially, being in the opposite side of options, wherever you're choppy, it's going to kill you, right? Ultimately, options were designed as hedge positions, meaning that they were designed as literally insurance for your equities, right? So ultimately, we as day traders like to capitalize on the option premiums, right? And if you guys don't know what an option premium is, really, I don't recommend you guys should, be trading stock options if you don't are not aware of what a stock premium is, right? But ultimately, what a stock premium is the cost of the contract, right? Some contracts cost might be expensive, some contracts cost might be very, cheap. Ultimately, our job as traders is to ultimately, take the price in between, right? Like inter-exchange it inter-between, right? From the zero value point to, the max value point, right? So ultimately, that's what we do as stock option traders. And a lot of it does involve psychology. I'm going to tell you this, right? The more you marry a position, the more you're going to start losing in this game. A lot of people are still married to GME, AMC when, I've made a lot of money, not marrying a position and just following what the market gives me, what presents me with, short-term value, such as, whether it has, bullish news, whether it has very good volume, whether it had a price upgrade. There's so many different catalysts I do take into account when growing my small account. But remember, it all comes down to psychology, right? Like, when I see a lot of traders, they have a $2,500 account, and I mean they took a $300 loss, and right off the bat their account value is now $2,200. How do you deal with this psychologically, and how do you recoup, right? A lot of times traders, ultimately, start a revenge trade after that, and their account's back at 1K, right? So ultimately, how do you control the psychology of trading? So more than likely, it all comes down to one of my favorite theories, Maslow's laws of hierarchy, right? Maslow's laws of hierarchy, it does explain that, the more comfortable you get, the more greedy you get. When you're in survival mode, back in that 1K mode, you're now looking for ways to kind of slowly grow yourself up, right? So that's why, these values, I'm really discussing this because ultimately you always in the trading realm have to stay in the bottom scheme, right? You can never get comfortable in this game. If you get comfortable in this game, that's when a big shark's going to come and grab you, right? So ultimately, I always have this type of mindset when growing a small account. I treat a small account the same. I, have a large account. Like last week, I made 55K in realized profits, right? Withdrawn back to my bank, right? But ultimately, I grew a small account in between that. So ultimately, grew small account to 2,500 to 6K, right? Made, a pretty good, beyond the average, salary in America in short amount of time span, right? So ultimately, more than ever, I want you guys to be very, very, very focused when trading with smaller capital, right? Again, when my strategy for growing these small accounts is taking into account small account tickers, right? Amazon just became a new small account ticker, right? With the stock split is, help our stock premiums, right? On a position. So ultimately, one of the things that I want to emphasize when growing a small account, stick to these small tickers. AMD, stick to, Amazon, stick to SPY, stick to QQQ. These tickers that they're, the premiums are so cheap, especially on 0 days to expiration date when the position goes your way, right? When, a position like, QQQs fluctuates very much throughout the day, right? Why are you not learning how to trade a position where, I'm going to give you guys an example of a position, right? I'm going to give you guys an example of SPY, right? So this is SPY, right? This is the S&P. This is the 500 most hottest companies in the world, right? 500 most hottest companies in the world, and look how this is the week chart. Let's go ahead and place it in the day chart. One of my favorite time frames, and as you guys can see right here, very volatile, right? When all the way back down through. It went from this upper top, area at 449 all the way down to this previous month low, which is 361.94, right? Ultimately, are we going to get lower, higher? We don't know that yet, right? We use all these metrics to take us a calculated risk. That's right. When you're trading, you are taking calculated risks into account. So here, right, if you're looking at, very basic, oscillator, the RSI, where, you buy here, you sell here in theory, right? When this is when it means there's too much selling that's happening. And as you can see, it's too much selling and it gets bought up, right? SPY has never been back into overbought conditions where, where it's just, boom, too much buying. As you guys can see, buying is, it's starting to get scared, right? We don't have as much buying presence. There's not as much buyers as there was here. They declined all the way here. They came back here, right? But as you guys can see, we still haven't met this low point, right? Up until we meet this amount of buyers, right? It's when I'll start to switch over to more of a bullish, zone. And I want to catch a piece like this, right? And I'm done. That's part of the psychology. And when trading small accounts, you always have to keep in mind the direction of the market, right? Right now, the reason why I grew that small account 2,500 to 6,000, I'm going to give you my big old secret, right? It's not even a secret, right? It's common sense for the most part. If the market is looking like it's making an uptrend, I'm trading an uptrend market, right? But I'm trading all of the micro events that are helping me as a trader at that given moment. I'm taking them all into account, right? My levels, what's happening in the news, did we get bullish news? Did we get negative news? I'm taking all of this into account. I'm doing this, ultimately now if we don't break above this, resistance area right here of the 392.48, right? If we don't break, now if we start to get downward momentum, I'm going to start playing the downward momentum trend, right? Especially taking all my micro events into account, right? So ultimately, when trading, you have to take into account everything possible, right? You got to be very meticulous in this game. You got to be very, 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 very clean in detail, right? If not, you're going to get burned and, this might not be the career for you. We help a community of over 5,000 traders. And again, they've became very successful because they've understood these metrics. They have understood these trends. They've been to the position that, they've been in a position where, they've burnt their whole account, right? And then you learn, right? But ultimately, right here, a longer time frame, as you can see, S&P, after breaking this major support zone, right? Which now is a resistance area, right? This support zone right here. And please excuse me, I do have my my computer algorithm, my options levels. But even if I was to take it out, right here, we have this resistance area. After we broke that, we came back down to downtrend and tried to test it back up here once. Boom, right? And now we're starting to get this here where, we're trying to see the likelihood of coming back up here, according to right here, is very low, right? So now, keeping in mind everything that's happening in micro news, right, as this does change day by day, I now have a position point right here, right? 392, right? 0.50 is a huge area that we felt to adjust. Oh, and again, one of the bullish kind of the uptrend day right here, right? As soon as we broke this candle, we clearly filled this gap here, right? Boom, right? This gap, we went back down here, right? But ultimately, we're gonna see if we could break a top right here and come back down, And it's all gonna these next few days are gonna tell us. As soon as more CPI numbers come out and stuff, it's gonna give us a point of direction of where the market is heading towards, and how the market will react based on the statistics that come out. So that's essentially what I look for when I'm building my small accounts. Again, I am looking I do use another tool right here, finviz.com. I like to use their pre-market screeners. It's giving me what has the best momentum, what has the lowest momentum, and what has the highest momentum, whether in the buy side or the sell side, right? I will make another YouTube video explaining how to use the screener and how to take advantage of it during the pre-market session. And yeah, guys, it wasn't I grow a small account is not tough, right? What's tough is the execution rate, like or not even the execution rate. And this is a survey I kind of do want to make, is that what are people more afraid of, being wrong or losing money? And more than often, a lot of people are let's be realistic, it's being wrong. Like, you're risking the money and you're okay with keep losing it. Ultimately, if you can't admit to being wrong, then you're just going to keep losing money, and you're fully aware of that. So, admitting was wrong is best key in this game, right? For example, Friday during live trading, right? Hundreds of people watched this in the morning. I was wrong, right? I was wrong. I had a bearish direction and no puts, right? I did, trim most of it at 27%, right? Luckily, I trimmed most of it. But again, I broke even because the runners went to zero. And ultimately, was that a trade? I mean, I was wrong. I admitted to being wrong. It's nothing with admitting to being wrong. There's a skill set that you can't have full control of everything, but you can control your profits and you can control your losses, right? Remember when I ran this YouTube video and I told you guys that in between, people are making money, right? Someone's going to make zero and someone's going to make max profit, right? It's the game of the metrics. We're just traders. We're day traders, and we're focusing in between, right? We're using all these strategies, and we're kind of like, we got to get, more in the habit of, looking at this like being robot programmed, take gains. Okay, cool. Compound, right? Even if you're at a $500 account, you're compounding $50 a day, right? Tell me, like, most of the signals that we post are automatically up those amounts, right? So again, guys, it's all growing a small account. I did, wanted to share the tools, different tools I use, the different, the mindset I go into train a small account. So, tomorrow I'm going to resume my small account challenge, but let's go ahead and give me an example of how I'm going to start thinking tomorrow, right? So let's go ahead and do the ES. Reason why I do the ES, right? If you do trade futures, it's kind of like gives you future value, right? So we're not, so search, yes, boom. All right, guys. So right here, this day, we're starting to get some red, right? Oh man, look, we're building up in this day channel. The S&P opened at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're getting this red channel now, right? After a full, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of green. We're starting to get one buildup of red, right? Will it be like this, right? Like the previous time? Or will it be the full bar? Tomorrow's the days going by. I'm taking this into account. I automatically take this into account. As soon as it's 6 a.m., as soon as the bell rings, I'm taking the buildup of this candlestick into account, right? I'm going to take it into account the full day tomorrow, right? Is it making, this peak, right? Meaning that, the buyers can justify this point. Is it making, this peak, right? Is it building up on this side? We hit that low and, automatically bought up. As the day goes by on the ticker ES1, and make sure you have the live version, right? A lot of you guys were trading with the not so live version. And essentially you guys were asking me, why is it a 10 points difference? It's because it's not the live price. So ultimately tomorrow, keep in mind the day chart. So I'm going to have all this programmed when I'm trading my small account. Now I go back to Finviz. I go here, right? And I take a look at this, right? This is the S&P 500, right? How does it look, right? I'm scanning to seeing what sector looks the weakest, right? Whether it's technology, where's the communication service, consumer cyclical, consumer defense, healthcare, industrials, energy. I'm looking at what sector, even financial, right? Financials had a great day Thursday, which made me go long on Bank of America, right? So ultimately, I'm looking at all these blocks and I'm seeing where there's strength, where there's weaknesses, cool, and what I'm going to trade. I apply it here, right? I pull up my screen. Now on TradingView.com, I'm going to start, looking at the QQQs, right? Again, I want to see how tech's doing, right? Are we going to, break out of this range, right? Or are we going to go back down? I am doing this in micro time frames, right? In the 5-minute channel. Now, I keep all my levels, macro, micro, and micro, all into account right here. The S&P I'm seeing what looks the weakest, right? Tech's starting to look weak, right? Ultimately, I look here, we break a support. Cool, I'm in puts, right? And I just capitalize on 30 to 50% gains on the day. I'm chilling, and this is what I do for a living. So ultimately, you know, that's my mindset. That's, you know, I'm going towards the direction of what the market is giving me, right? I'm trying to look, right? Like ultimately, you know, I failed to catch this, right? That's why I decided to go small snow puts, but ultimately I did catch QQ puts. QQ calls, and to the boom, to, you know, offsetted this. I mean, we did trim some snow puts, right? We took profits, but ultimately, you know, QQ made us end the day green. Small account and did a $6,000 balance, and boom, we murdered small account challenge, right? And now, you know, I started 2,500 in the month, right? We'll do a month. We'll see what it ends in the month, right? But yeah, guys, you know, trading's a lot of psychology. You know, pick a direction and make sure to subscribe to Gus's YouTube video. I'm gonna drop you guys so much sauce.